welcome back. I'm the Barefoot German. Today we have a beautiful 2021 C8 3LT. I'm just going to go ahead and walk you around the vehicle a little bit and explain what this car has as far as options, just really fast. So as you can see, it's in the beautiful rapid blue. That was a debut color for this for the C8 model. So this is the C8. The first time that Chevy has transitioned the Corvette platform from a front-engined platform to a mid-engine platform for a sports car. And just from driving it the short amount that I have thus far, it is a weapon. The design language is pointed and it drives just as you would imagine. They evoke that feeling in the design language of how the car actually drives. So this is the Z51 package, just as I stated. 3LT, this vehicle comes in 3 different trim levels. It comes in a 1LT, a 2LT, and a 3LT. There's not much significant changes other than as you go up the trim levels, the 3LT being the highest, the interior features get a little bit more luxurious. Like there's additional safety features, there's additional comfort features like heated seats, ventilated seats, things like that. But as far as the performance goes, the only difference between it and a standard bone stock is the Z51 package, which this car does have, which does give you the carbon fiber blades, as you can see right here on the, let's see if I can get a good picture in the sunlight. It gets you carbon fiber trim everywhere. It gets you the front splitter and the rear deck lid that comes with the spoiler. You get cooling upgraded everywhere. So you get brake cooling, radiator cooling, transmission cooling. It comes with Michelin PS4S's, Pilot Sport 4S's as standard, which really do help this vehicle hook up and launch and stay poised as you're taking hard corners. The other thing that the Z51 package does give you is a sports exhaust, which gives you 5 more horsepower over the standard motor, which is the 6.2 liter LT2 that Chevy produces. So standard, it produces 485 horsepower with 465 pound-feet of torque, but with the sports performance, it gives you an extra 5 horsepower, so 490, and then an extra 4 pound-feet of torque, so 470 pound-feet of torque with the Z51. And the sports exhaust really does make a difference, as well as the Z51 package does offer upgraded suspension, which is stiffer, and once you put it in Z mode, they call it, it really livens up the suspension and the steering and gives you an amazing feel. And welcome to the interior of the C8 Corvette. Now, I know you guys are at a little bit of a weird angle, and I apologize for that. Unfortunately, I have a little bit taller of an upper body, and then the camera is mounted on my head right now. So in this C8 Corvette, there is one alliteration that I think pretty much summarizes the interior experience in 3 words. You are cocooned in a cacophony of control. So what I mean by that is it is an immersive experience once you sit down in the driver's seat. There are, as you can see, the driver's controls. I mean, it's all driver centric. These are all mostly climate control options, and I find them quite, how do I put it? It's a lot to try to figure out as you're driving. I think it's a little bit of an overload, but I understand that this was the best place to put these different switches. I just don't love how many different things I have to figure out and look at before I press a button. I just think that takes your vision away from the road a little bit too much. Other than that, let's get talking about the driving experience itself. So now this particular model, like I said, is the Z51 package equipped 3LT model, which Z51 really gives you a track focused package when we consider all the options that I explained in the intro, with the exterior additions as well as the cooling and the tires. It gives you an ELSD, Chevy's ELSD, which is pretty renowned actually. It does the job, and it really helps you get the power to whichever wheel needs it, has the most grip. The other thing that it does is it gives you a more aggressive rear axle ratio. And from what I've been experiencing thus far, for the amount of money that you spend on this vehicle, it's really great value for what you're getting. I wouldn't necessarily call the C8, the entry-level C8, a supercar. I think you start to get into supercar territory once you get into the upper trim levels, like we have now, the Z06 as well as the ZR1, which is coming out soon. But I think this still competes in a sports car world. But it's got 0 to 60, 2.9 seconds. It hooks up. It gives you all the control. You really feel the balance that this vehicle has, and it's due to the mid-engine configuration that they switched to from the C7 to the C8. It really gives it that extra balance, poised stature on the road. It gives you that confidence that you need to turn in. Like I mentioned before, it is a pointed vehicle. This car goes exactly where you're directing it in the corners, more so than any other car I've driven up to this point. And you can get these on the used market for, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000 for a car that's got 490 horsepower, mid-engine, is under 3 seconds 0 to 60 time, and it cruises too. It's very comfortable. I'm in touring mode right now, and the bumps aren't harsh. You still feel the road as you would imagine, but again, it's not harsh. It's not anything that you couldn't daily. This is a convertible model instead of the hardtop target top, which is the other option. And it really makes it a fun experience when you take the top off and you're just cruising around. And this interior really does feel very, very premium compared to other GM products. It's not like the experience that I'm describing is when you get into a high-end Dodge or a high-end anything that's from FCA Stellantis Group. I guess now it's the Stellantis Group, but you can feel it in the switchgear. You feel a lot of the cheap in the steering wheel. You can feel a lot of cheap buttons, and there still is some of that GM feel throughout the buttons and stuff, but it's much better executed than it is in like a Hellcat or a high-end Stellantis product, where you just get the same switches from any other car that exists in their group. The paddles are clunky, and the transmission is very responsive too. Here, I'm going to go ahead and go into manual mode. And that's the other thing too, is this car has several different settings. It's got a touring mode, a weather mode, a sport mode, a track mode, and then within that track mode you can go into, I think it's race 1 and race 2, and they call it PTM, which allows you to do launch control. Go ahead and take a look at my short where I did do a launch control with this vehicle, and it loses traction, but it's not doesn't frighten you. It's so confidence inspiring, and you can maintain control even when the rear wheels do break loose. It's nothing that it's not the unavoidable Mustang drift onto the curb where the pedestrians are watching type rear wheel drive. As far as an American made product, I think this is the best of America right here. I don't think there's much more that represents quality manufacturing in America than the Corvette. But this really does, it just shouts quality and a driver's experience, and you're not lacking anything other than maybe a little bit of cargo space. But that's not what this car is for. And the other thing that reflects that is the sound system. This does have upgraded sound. It's got a Bose premium sound system, but I wouldn't say it's amazing or great in any shape or form. It's adequate. But again, when you get into this vehicle, you're not here for the music. You're listening to that. Let's see here. You're listening to that 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8, which is a dying breed. And we're not going to see these cars around for much longer without the hybrid technology intervening and making them so much heavier and compromising what we love about sports cars. They're still going to be great vehicles, but it's not going to be the same as we're at the end of an era. You can just hear it chirping up. So the Z51 package gives you that sports exhaust, and with that it becomes valved. So anytime you get into a sport mode, the valve will open up and you really get the sound of the exhaust more prominently in the cabin and at the exterior. I've noticed it immediately as soon as I either hit this Z button. So you've got the Z button, which automatically puts you in a more aggressive mode. As you can see on the screen, it heightens pretty much every aspect of the car, and it just becomes, it's still dailyable even in the harshest setting, which is awesome, because it really just amplifies the experience, and it's not backbreaking at all or compromising in the ride aspect. And one thing I did want to mention with this vehicle is, well, with the interior you get these bucket seats which hold you very nicely in place. You're not going anywhere. You don't feel like you're going anywhere. Look at that, just so darty. Oh, I love it. And this car does have a couple of features to enable you to make it even more dailyable than a lot of other sports cars out there. So it's got the front lift, which is insanely fast. Actually, it's within a few seconds. I would say probably around 7 to 8 seconds where it goes up all the way. And then it has a recognition system, so it recognizes when you're coming up to a spot based off of GPS where you usually lift the nose, and it just knows to lift up the nose, and as soon as you put or get past that spot, it will, or you increase your speed over a certain threshold, it will automatically put the nose down, which I think is a great feature that a lot of car companies struggle to execute efficiently, but this one does it very well. The other thing that this car does amazing is the roof, the hardtop convertible roof. It's within probably about 15 seconds, maybe even less. I haven't timed it exactly, but it's really quite quick for everything to secure itself and for you to just be ready to go. And the only thing that I don't like with this car, but is remedied by these two switches on the underside of the steering wheel on the right, is the volume knob on the the volume knob on the infotainment system, it's really close to your windshield washer or your windshield wipers, and I feel like you hit that almost every time you reach for that button, and it's quite obnoxious to say the least. But you've got these buttons down here which solve that problem, no issues whatsoever. I do feel a little bit sorry for the passenger in this vehicle, as they have almost nothing is catered to them. So if you want to change the music or something like that, they have to reach over this huge center stack right here and touch the touchscreen. And even these are canted towards the driver, so it's just it creates a little bit of an awkward angle for the passenger. But like I said, this is a completely driver-centric vehicle. I'm going a little too slow. I got a little distracted. You really notice it when you're in either seat, I would say, because if you're in that seat, you feel a little left out. When you're in the driver's seat, you're feeling like everything is focused on you and you're the center of attention, center of the experience. And a cool little feature that it has in this particular vehicle, which is interesting, an interesting quirk, because so if you look at the rear view mirror, right now it's a regular mirror, but then when I flick this down, I'm not sure if you can see, I hope you can see that, but it becomes a video. So I've only used this a couple of times now, but the video feed really throws off your perception. This is the first time I've used this feature, and it's in a lot of GM products these days. But the video feed really throws off your depth perception. It almost gives you vertigo because you're used to looking for a mirror which can show you depth versus a two-dimensional screen. And it's just a weird sensation that you get in this vehicle. Well, I guess in all GM vehicles if you have this feature equipped. It's very useful though. The image is very clear and you can see exactly what's behind. It's more clear than the mirror because it's giving you a higher resolution and the colors are more defined, I feel like. But if you put the top down and go into a convertible mode, that is no longer an option because the camera is on the roof structure that is then in the rear deck lid. I think brand new this vehicle started in the higher 70s, which at that price point it really is a great bargain. You're getting almost 500 horsepower in a naturally aspirated V8, and there's not really a whole lot of competition out there that can match this. A BMW M3, which has 500 horsepower, but it's not the same class of vehicle at all. We're gonna use the lift here. Just make a nice little U-turn and put the lift down. You've got the Dodge Charger and Challenger Scat Pack, which have about 480 horsepower. But again, this is much more sports car oriented, driver focused, and just would blow those cars out of the water. 0 to 60 time acceleration, handling, there's just no competition. So I think this is really just a budget high-end sports car, and there's not much you're gonna get. Even the Cayman comes with less horsepower. It is no longer available. You can only buy a used one, and even the used ones are more expensive than this vehicle in a certain spec. Yes, you can find Caymans for less than this vehicle's price point, but at this point, this is a 2021. It's used. It's probably, excuse me, it's probably in the high 50s, mid 60s for a nice model. This one I would imagine is probably around $65,000 on the used market. Don't quote me on that. That's just speculation based off of what I've seen in the market these days. But it's really just, I feel like it sits alone in its own little category. Another thing about this vehicle is it gets the love. I mean, this color definitely helps, and it is a beautiful color, but I brought this around my neighborhood, and all the neighbors were looking at it. I took a couple of them for a ride, and they absolutely just adored it. They loved the sound on the downshifts. They loved, I mean, how could you not? It's just an amazing sounding vehicle. I would maintain that, again, it sits by itself in its category almost. I can't think of anything that competes directly with it. If I'm wrong, go ahead and tell me I'm wrong in the comments section and tell me which car competes with it, because as far as the price point and what you get for the packaging, it's really impressive. So with that being said, make sure that you guys like and subscribe. I've got other stuff that's in the pipeline. I've also got some more motorcycle videos coming up. Also, make sure to leave your story of making someone smile. I really think that, especially in today's environment, trying to make someone smile, trying to make someone's day just a little bit better can really change the outlook on your day. And also make sure that you're doing what you love, because if you're not doing what you love and making yourself smile, you're taking the you out of yourself. You're not being yourself. So chase those passions. Make sure you make yourself smile, make other people smile, and just overall have a good day. Make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment, and stay tuned for more automotive content from me. And really, I do appreciate all of you guys. I hope that you know that every single person who watches the video, I really do appreciate that. And I hope everyone takes care.